Welcome to Uncaged. Today, we're going to a beautiful part of the world, Hilton Head Island, South Carolina, to speak with Mark Kombrink. Mark is the owner and operator of Host to Coast, which is dedicated to providing exceptional services that give vacation rental homeowners peace of mind. We'll go through all the things that Host to Coast is doing and really talk about the hospitality space in general and where we are right now. Seems like there's a surge of activity, so we'll hear what Mark's perspective is on everything. But before we get there, Mark, tell us a little bit about you and your career.
Well, thank you. Yeah, so I've been an entrepreneur almost all my life since leaving college, and whether it's been in real estate, sales, or then I did residential mortgages for a while with my own businesses in both of those, and uh, I just fell into property management somewhat by accident. I was tired of doing mortgages after '08 when everything kind of went crazy. It became very difficult to do my job, to serve people, which is the
Yeah.
whole reason to do what I do, and have always done it like that. So yeah, I got into the vacation rental management business as a property manager for a large company on Hilton Head Island, and I was there for about 6 years. And in April of 2020, it just made sense for me to go back out on my own and try to do a better job, do things the way I wanted to do.
You
And
know
so
what?
that,
You could take the entrepreneur out of being an entrepreneur for a period of time, but at some point you're gonna have a better way of doing something, and it'll
yeah,
start all over again. So,
yep.
Mark, tell me about the Host to Coast story.
Thank you. Yeah. So with that, as I said, I resigned from my position at this other company on April 15th of 2020 with the idea that I could fill the gap between people who do their own bookings, like on Verbo and Airbnb, but they're not local. So I was just going to be that guy that was boots on the ground, making sure the property was ready for the guests, being on call for the guests when they're here. But what I didn't realize was the property owners I used to represent wanted to work with me. It wasn't the company that they were behind. They liked what I did,
Hmm.
because I delivered. If I said I was
Yeah.
going to do something, I did it. I was their guy they could count on. Well, they said they didn't want to do their own bookings, so I learned how to do that. And I learned quickly. I had to learn. I didn't even know I needed a business license, right? So, and it just took off. And I think with with it being my own business and me being able to say, look, this is how I do things.
Hmm.
My thing that I do in my life is about serving people, because I have learned over the decades that I've been doing this, that I've been in business, that that everything else takes care of itself. So I just came out of the gate with, look, what is the best way to do things for people, for guests, for property owners, whatever. Investigated that, came up with the things I like to do that I think would help people, and it just took off like
That's
crazy.
amazing. I love that. And it's a great story. And I mean, we are in an interesting time. I mean, with I think the hospitality space. I did a little bit of traveling last summer in Europe, and I, like a million other Americans, did exactly the same thing. I think it was almost as if people had repressed desires for
Oh yeah.
vacations that
Yep.
that had been delayed because of COVID, and then suddenly everyone was traveling. What are some of the things you're seeing right now in the hospitality and travel space?
Well, it's interesting. Like you said, you mentioned Europe. I was in Europe for a month in September, and one of the things I noticed just in general was the sustainability, right? The I could go to a hotel room or an Airbnb, and there would be a glass bottle for water with a glass. There was no plastic bottles of water.
Yeah,
Something's that, or you got to plug your room key into the wall for the power to come on. So when you
yeah,
leave, you're gonna have to take it. Everything shuts off.
yeah,
So it's that kind of stuff that I thought was cool. We've already embraced that from day one, is to be sustainable and stop using plastics and throwaway items and stuff like that. So, what am I seeing going forward, aside from the fact that in our industry, people people are you're starting to see fewer bookings. So
Hmm.
you talk about like Europe, of course, during COVID was a boon for us because Hilton Head we didn't close, but
Right.
we also had the benefit of people who never having been to Hilton Head coming to Hilton Head Island. Who now and if you know Hilton Head Island as you do, you know
Yeah.
it's a family. It's a great place for a family to come.
Yeah.
It's clean. The beaches are outstanding. It's a drive-to destination for most people. So it exposed a lot of people to Hilton Head Island, and I think they're going to keep coming back. But obviously, with Europe and opening back, travel people going over there, we're starting to see and cruises, right? People are taking cruises again now, so
Yeah.
it's starting to
I've
die down.
always kind of always thought, I think about the US, and certainly there are some really beautiful places to go in America for vacation, right? I mean, you can go out west and go to Sedona, but
Yes,
man, I mean, Hilton Head is hard to beat. It's really hard to beat. I mean, you
yeah,
got world-class golf and tennis, you got great food, grits and shrimp.
yeah, yeah. And the
And
beach, man, the beach
right,
is
and then the beach itself is stunning and it's just beautiful. The weather's good. I gotta think that it's gonna pop, and man, that part of the world, with Charleston and Savannah,
sir, yes, sir.
it's just kind of really popping in general in terms of economic growth and lots of excitement. I mean, what are the things that you're seeing right now that are some of the interesting trends in Hilton Head?
Well, one of the things that I like is, and I'm not going to say we were the innovators of this, but when I started this business, um, I realized that guests didn't want to come here on Saturday to Saturday because the traffic's terrible to get on the island. So we opened up the booking window to any day of the week. We shortened it from a 7 night stay to a 3, 4, 5 night stay, really to accommodate what was coming down the pipeline, what the consumer was asking for, right?
Yeah,
Because I would call guests and I would say, "Hey, it's Saturday to Saturday. Didn't you read the description?" And they said, "Well, I don't. I'm searching for anything but Saturday
yeah,
to Saturday." And so that's what I'm seeing now on the island is that most of the people in this area, most of the other management companies are also doing the same thing. So they're opening their booking windows. We're starting to see people arriving every day of the week. Some of the owners who live here, they don't like that idea. Um,
mm,
but as I've tried to explain to some of them, it's like whether I have somebody here for 7 nights or somebody here for three and then four. I mean, really, what's the difference? It's 7 nights.
yeah,
So anyway, I don't see any. I'm working on consolidating other companies on this island to come underneath our umbrella. I
yeah.
don't see that happening right now. I know that there are. Um, I just spoke with a guy who was trying to purchase into our business. He bought a vacation rental company on this island. Seems to be a lot of interest from investors
Hmm.
in picking up management companies on this island, and there's maybe only a handful of us left that are not owned by some corporation.
Yeah. No, and I look, as I said, I tend to still go to Hilton Head Island every year. It is the destination of choice by my family, and so everyone loves it. Everyone always has. Oh, it's hard to not have a good time there. If you can't find something to do there, it's on you.
Yeah, honestly.
That's kind of, I
And
think, the way I look at it.
quick side note to that. I just got back a couple days ago from traveling, so I went, and I went to some places that most people would just think are amazing. Right? I was spent a week and a half in Mexico, spent a week in Belize on a little tiny island, spent a week in Roatan, Honduras. Um, Came back with a great tan, but it's nothing like here.
Yeah,
This is so much better for me.
yeah,
The water that washes, the waves, they're not crystal clear and aquamarine and all that.
yeah,
But I mean, I'm walking on brown sandy beaches that are 20 feet wide, where at Hilton Head it could be 200 feet of
yeah.
beach,
I mean, those are
white.
breathtaking.
Yeah, so I mean, it's it is to your point. It is a beautiful place. I don't know. I ended up here sheerly by luck, and I feel very blessed to be part of this
So,
community.
so Mark, I mean, you've been part of this, I'd say, kind of rental and housing world, the ecosystem from one angle or another throughout your whole career.
Yeah.
Clearly, there's something about this industry that there's a passion point somewhere in there, right? That keeps it going for you. Tell me a little bit about what drives you in this space.
Well, it's I think the first thing we focus on here, and I didn't realize it until just probably recently, that I'm very focused on why I do things. And what is it that gets me out of bed in the morning? What excites
Yeah.
me? And honestly, it really, and I hope it doesn't sound, maybe sounds cliche, but it is really about serving people. I get such joy from that, whether I'm helping somebody install a garbage disposal yesterday, or I'm the founder of this company. I'm reviewing financials and doing all that kind of stuff, but I'm also under the sink doing that kind of stuff because that's
Yeah.
what I want to serve my employees in the
Yeah.
sense that I want to help them do chores they don't want to do. Uh, but I absolutely, just like when I sold real estate and when I did mortgages, when I reflect on that, really my great joy was helping people. When you think about helping people find a house, helping people get the financing to buy their dream house. And
Hmm.
now I'm looking at these people like yourself that come down here to vacation, and I get to give them the best experience possible. And I get to help these homeowners who invested money that they've earned in these properties. I get to help them make them cash flow, make the properties better conditionally. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, it's always about that. If anybody asks, the first thing I tell a new property owner, potential new owner, is why we do what we do, because
Yeah.
we.
Yeah, no, and it sounds like the element that made Host to Coast really pop was that idea of you being that extra, I guess that extra feature that kind of pushed everything to the next level, right? That customers were like, no, 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 Mark, we need you. We need your thinking to make this work for us. And that I think is once you can kind of get that into a system and start to scale it, it gets really, really exciting. But I mean, here we are, 2024, interesting time, for sure. No, never a dull moment, as we all see and say.
Mhm.
What do you see on the horizon for the vacations? I mean, I know that Hilton Head's a big, big spring break vacation destination. You see this as being a big year this year?
It's going to be a different year. It's hard for me to predict that. I think we've shifted to in order to accommodate our owners or help them, we've shifted to lower nightly rates, but in effort to get more nights booked, so that we can hopefully make the revenue look the same as last year, because everybody's going down. The
Mm,
money revenue is much less in 23 for some people. Didn't That wasn't the case for us, but I would say in 2024 we're going to see lower rates,
mm-hmm,
maybe even lower fees from management companies. Um, because I think what's happening now is property owners are looking at what their guests are paying,
mm,
right? Where they didn't pay attention to that before. They might look at it and say, wait a minute, you're renting my place out for $2,000 a week, but the guest is paying you 3,000. Like,
mm,
you're getting my management fee, but you're also getting all these extra fees that you charge to the guest, which is
right.
true. Um, and so we're starting to see that come into the fold, and I'm wondering if that's not going to become more commonplace in 2024 as owners start to realize that these are our homes that we
Okay.
bought, and you guys are making all the money.
Yeah. But at
So we
the
got
at the end of the day, they need your help, right? I mean, the owners
yeah,
need
it's
they
it's
need
about
they
being
need
fair.
yeah.
It's about being fair. And I
Yeah.
tell property owners from day one, the minute first time we ever have a conversation, it's your investment, should be your return. You
Yeah.
know, I need to be, as I say to every potential new owner, number one, let's have a conversation. If we get along, let's go to the next part. If your property is up to our standards, then we can keep moving. And then the third thing is, what do you feel is fair for me for my compensation to
Right.
come alongside you? Is it 10% a year? Is it 20% a year? 12%? What is it? Let's
Hmm.
let's come up with a number that we're both happy with. rather than say, oh, we're just at 20%. That's the way it is.
That's interesting. I mean, it sounds like it's going to be a competitive marketplace this year, and but
Yeah,
still a very active one. And
I think so.
you and the Host to Coast team are right at the center of it all. So exciting to see that. Mark, if someone wanted to learn more about what you and the Host to Coast team are up to, where's the best place to reach you?
Well, the website, of course. I mean, hosttocoast.com. I think it's built out pretty well with who each one of us are individually, and of course our mission statement and what we're all about, why we do what we do. So,
Well, I mean, if the customers out there can't remember Host to Coast, that what a great name. Such a fun,
thanks.
such a fun name to say.
Yeah,
I'll put it on the customer on that one. But Mark, thank you so much for talking with us today. We've been
sure.
speaking with Mark Kombrink. He is the founder of Host to Coast. They're dedicated to providing exceptional services that give vacation rental homeowners peace of mind. And talking about the work that they do in the Hilton Head Island area. Lots of activity there, and we've seen kind of the markets change and shift over the years, but clearly, at the end of the day, it all comes down to making sure that the ecosystem flows smoothly, right? So that the homeowners have a good deal and that the people that are on vacation, vacationers have a great time and a great experience. And Mark, it sounds like you found that sweet spot of how to make that happen for
It is great,
everyone.
sir.
So thank you for taking us through it, and we look forward to having you back.